Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your source for clear insights into the evolving story of Iraq's financial transformation. As of the current date in the USA, new developments are shaking up conversations around the Iraqi dinar. While speculation has always been part of this space, the latest wave of insider discussions, analyst commentary, and market activity is pointing to something more substantial, with the dinar now reportedly projected to reach values in the $0.41 range, and serious attention being paid to real-time policy shifts. The picture is changing fast, and those holding IQD are paying closer attention than ever. Across the community, prominent voices are weighing in with differing perspectives. Some analysts believe Iraq could strengthen the dinar without going through the process of removing zeros from the currency, a move that would be welcomed by holders eager to see any form of upward movement. There are also broader debates about Iraq's shift toward green economic models, a strategy tied to the World Bank and international climate finance structures. Critics argue that these efforts may echo the struggles seen in other nations like Spain and Germany. They fear it could destabilize the country rather than diversify it. Supporters, however, suggest that these global shifts could open up fresh investment channels and give Iraq long-term stability. One scenario floated by a well-known figure in the dinar space involved a theoretical spike to $0.48, though that number is widely understood to be metaphorical. The real focus, experts say, is on reaching a domestic 1-1 parity with the US dollar. That baseline would then allow for market-driven growth once the dinar is traded openly on Forex platforms. In such a case, international demand and investor confidence would play a central role in determining its market value. Multiple analysts, including Mark Z, suggest that rates in the high $0.49 range for the dinar and above $0.03 for the Vietnamese dong are not out of the question. While these projections remain speculative, they continue to drive anticipation among long-time investors. At the same time, Iraq's economic fundamentals are showing signs of evolution. Sandy Ingram has pointed out Iraq's new efforts to reduce its dependency on oil alone. The country is beginning to enter the carbon market by planning to issue carbon bonds and support environmental projects. This move could draw significant foreign capital and begin diversifying revenue sources, steps that support the broader case for currency revaluation. Diversification is essential for long-term resilience, and Iraq's entry into global green financing might be the right step in that direction. On a more practical front, discussions about where and how to exchange dinar are also heating up. Analysts like Pimpy recommend avoiding bulk currency exchanges and instead suggest contacting banks willing to convert dinar at today's available rates, even mentioning that some airport services, while more costly, may also offer exchange options. Still, these practical tips are tempered by realism. One voice reminded listeners that Iraq's current reported exchange rate remains at 1,300 dinar per USD, a figure that has held for over 2 years. Additionally, it's worth noting that Iraq's currency is not yet trading freely on international markets. Yet despite these realities, there's increasing evidence of change. Analysts like Walkingstick and Claire highlighted new reports confirming that the amount of currency physically printed in Iraq is at its lowest point in over a year. This decline in printed currency is seen as a strong indicator that the Central Bank of Iraq is hitting certain benchmarks necessary for rate adjustments. A major part of this process involves collecting the older, higher denomination notes from circulation and establishing a new valuation standard before entering international trade. Rank 26 added more detail to this narrative, explaining that Iraq is working to separate large legacy notes from smaller, updated denominations. This, he argues, is laying the groundwork for a new monetary structure. In fact, according to one of his contacts, referred to as Firefly, this very message was broadcast on national television in Iraq, where central bank officials explained their plan to phase out the large notes in preparation for a future change in value. As we continue monitoring developments, investor momentum around Iraq is growing louder. Mark Z reported that Iraq is now attracting increased attention from international and regional investors. A recent forum saw significant participation from global firms eager to get a foothold in Iraq's evolving market. That's not just symbolic. It signals a broader financial shift. Iraq is quickly becoming one of the most sought-after investment locations in the Middle East, with new infrastructure projects and private sector growth creating openings that didn't exist just a few years ago. Bruce, another known figure in the community, added that recent bank rates for the dinar have been encouraging. While these rates may not yet match what's expected at official redemption centers, the trend itself is promising. He also noted that the Vietnamese dong is showing strong performance at the bank level, but again emphasized that the most favorable rates are likely to appear only during the structured redemption process. His message was clear. Be patient, stay alert, and prepare for outcomes that may exceed expectations but remain grounded in process. One recurring question among dinar holders is the matter of taxation. Frank 26 addressed this directly, confirming that any gains resulting from exchanging dinar will be subject to taxes. He cautioned against assuming exemptions, urging people to prepare accordingly and speak with licensed tax professionals before making moves. For many, this may come as a reminder that revaluation isn't just a financial windfall, it's a financial event that comes with real-world responsibility. Banu Lenu brought in a sobering but important point regarding Iraq's current economic infrastructure. He cited reports noting that only around 20% of Iraq's population is formally banked. That means most people still operate within informal cash systems, which poses a real challenge to modernizing the dinar or introducing widespread digital finance tools. While Iraq's policymakers have spoken about digitization and even hinted at possible central bank digital currency (CBDC) plans, the groundwork for this kind of transformation isn't yet in place. The idea of digitizing the dinar remains a long-term goal, not an immediate reality. Still, some voices, like Militiaman, believe that Iraq is headed toward a breakthrough once it defines its real effective exchange rate and joins international trading platforms. He noted that when Iraq does open its currency to global trade, it will need to enforce strong safeguards to ensure fair and balanced relationships with its trade partners. This would be essential to preventing any one-sided exploitation of Iraq's market or currency gains during revaluation. In a parallel development, Caparoni cited a recent statement from a senior Iraqi official who said that Iraq's integration into the global financial system is no longer optional, it's a necessity. That kind of language signals a shift in how Iraq views its economic position. It's no longer about isolation or recovery, it's about full normalization. And that has profound implications for both domestic economic confidence and international credibility. Concerns around digital currency continue to surface. Pimpy raised the issue again, warning that if Iraq does eventually adopt a fully digital dinar under a CBDC model, it could restrict access to physical cash. That would mean currency holders would have to convert their paper notes into digital assets through formal channels, likely government-issued wallets. Though it's still unclear how such a transition would be managed, Pimpy emphasized the need to remain informed and adaptable, especially for those holding larger amounts of dinar. Turning to broader geopolitics, Sandy Ingram spoke about the delicate situation involving Iran. She highlighted how a potential diplomatic breakthrough between Iran and Western powers could bring stability to the Middle East. This, in turn, would benefit Iraq's economy, especially given its reliance on oil exports and regional trade. But she also cautioned that renewed tensions or conflict could reverse much of the recent progress. The region remains unpredictable, and Iraq's currency strength is partly tied to peace and cooperation in its immediate neighborhood. Mark Z also brought attention to one of Iraq's most important legislative goals, the oil and gas law. This long-standing issue has created friction between the federal government and the Kurdistan regional government. The coordination framework is now pushing to finalize this law, and according to Mark's sources, it could make its way to Parliament by mid-June. This is critical because for more than a decade, insiders have said the law's passage could trigger or coincide with a dinar revaluation. If that legislation does indeed move forward, it could unlock the final step in a long-awaited financial transformation. In summary, the current landscape within the IQD community is a mix of renewed optimism, healthy skepticism, and practical observation. Some believe that the time is finally ripe for major valuation changes, citing hard evidence like currency supply reductions, international investor activity, and political alignment. Others urge caution, reminding everyone that Iraq still faces serious challenges in banking infrastructure, regional stability, and technical readiness. Regardless of which timeline proves accurate, one thing is undeniable. Interest in Iraq's monetary future is at an all-time high, and as the dinar journey continues, so too will our coverage. Here at Iraqi Dinar News, we remain committed to providing balanced updates, thoughtful commentary, and fact-based reporting as the situation evolves. Whether this month brings a major shift or simply sets the stage for what's next, your best strategy is to stay alert, stay informed, and stay prepared. If you found today's update helpful, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share your thoughts in the comments. Are you feeling optimistic, cautious, curious? Let us know. We'll continue tracking every meaningful development, policy change, and financial move tied to the dinar, right here, where truth matters more than hype.